Good evening. Welcome to Right Talk with Mike Lee. On this Veterans Day edition of Right Talk, I've got sort of some veterans with me. I've got two political hell raisers, probably, as I call them.
Yes.
A big, tall Mackenzie on my left, and Jason Salazar, General Hellraiser in Caldwell County. I know for sure. That's all I know for sure. But welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike.
If you could, if you could tell the audience something about yourself, Jason.
My name is Jason Salazar. I'm running for Travis County. Well, as it says on there, candidate for sheriff. But actually, that's incorrect. It's Travis County now.
Travis County.
Yes, sir. A little bit about myself. I've been in jail before, plenty of times. First 4 times for traffic tickets. 5th time, it was a pretext arrest to keep me out of taking the seat for county judge in Caldwell County in 2018. I was put in solitary confinement for 35 days. Came out, went through the trial modes, and had the elected DA forcefully reject it. So I know what it's like to be basically prosecuted falsely with police, law enforcement, period, and the district attorneys and judges all working together to make sure they can seal you up and silence you. But when I came out, I refused to be silenced no matter what. And I decided to move to Travis County to get a new beginning and rise up the ranks.
When did you move to Travis County? Because last time we spoke, you were in Caldwell, I believe.
That is correct. Last time we spoke, I was in Caldwell. But I moved to Travis County in April.
In April, okay.
And then I filed my CTA with Travis' elections office in May.
And Miss Kelly, you're a general political activist here in Austin. A
Yes.
rare find in my book of a woman who happens to be white, Caucasian, however you want to call it, but who is in a sense a common sense conservative. You don't seem to have your mind co-opted into woman's right to choose, which I think was just actually something that jumped off when I was in law school.
Yeah.
And that was in 1974, right? 1974. And all the women in law school time, everything was equal protection. You're in contracts law. Isn't it equal protection? No, this is contracts. This is procedure. Everything is not equal protection. There's more to life than equal protection. It's like they were just like, I remember Nancy Huggins. My wife told me about calling people by name, but Nancy Huggins was pretty much a leader. And they were like angry women almost. And many of them they weren't going to be Miss World or Miss Universe or anything like that. And so I just wondered, what is all this about? And I'm wondering how you survive in Austin being a common sense conservative.
It's hard. It's not the easiest task I've ever taken upon, but I have taken on harder tasks. I think that when you stay true to what you believe in, and you believe in your soul, what should guide you, and you align those things with like-minded people, you're going to go far, kid. And that's what I've done. And I posted a quote on my Twitter today, which was something similar to, and I'm paraphrasing, but people can react however they want to you, but I choose how to react back. So, water off a duck's back. I don't mind criticism. It just grows that fire inside me hotter and stokes it to the point where I have to do something.
When I think of liberalism and some of its ideas, I refer to Austin as the belly of the beast.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Because you have all kind of, I call it sickness going on here. I read something a few months back where they were trying to say masculinity was a mental illness. Masculinity is the mental illness. Homosexuality is not. Go figure.
I mean, my husband and I, we got married in April of this year. We specifically got our marriage license in Williamson County. At the time, we lived in Travis County. Now we're moving to Williamson County next week. But it's still the Williamson County part of Austin. So that's a good thing. But we had a Williamson County judge, Judge Bill Gravel. He was our officiant. So I feel like I align more with Williamson County than I do Travis County.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Williamson County. Man, that's
See,
Are you-
there's stories, I know in the legal profession here, one of the first things I learned, aside from educating myself about the lynching history of Central Texas, one of the first things I learned was what they said about Williamson County. And this is not among minorities, not among black people, just the white people say. Go Williamson County on vacation, leave on
probation.
probation.
yes.
Yes. But it's so different now, and I think that Sheriff Chody is really doing a lot to change the public perception of Williamson County.
I got some little input. I agree with that too, 100%. But the PD over there, the police department, the sheriff's department, I believe, is excellent over there under Sheriff Chody's.
So which police department in particular?
All of them in Williamson County. 'Cause,
So,
I mean,
like, what
once
city?
every city in Williamson County.
Do you know cities in Williamson County?
Yes, I do. But I'm calling it out particularly because when I went to, what was it called? I want to say it's
Pflugerville's not in
No,
Williamson
not
County.
Pflugerville.
Pflugerville's in Travis?
It is, yes.
Name me one of the Williamson County cities, and I'll tell you.
Round Rock.
Round Rock.
I work in Round Rock.
Georgetown.
I drive all over Williamson County, and
Round
I've
Rock.
never encountered anything but courteous and kind police officers there.
Well, your experience with police, Mackenzie, is going to be a lot different than mine.
I can understand that,
When,
but it shouldn't be that way.
Yes, I agree with you. It shouldn't be that way. But the fact of the matter is that it is. Right now, there's a matter I'm dealing with it down in Hayes County, where they have a practice of ticketing white people for minor offenses. So you pulled over with your tail light out. There are white people who get cited and released. And black people can be pulled over for the throwing the full gamut of the legal system against them. I know one lady she wrote a $25 check that bounced. She spent almost a month or two in jail because of that. And they stopped her because of a traffic violation.
So
They stopped you because your tail lights out.
I'm in,
Because the light around your license is not lit.
and I can understand that, but I know specifically, so I'm in this 14-week-long program with the City of Austin. It is the Citizens Police Academy. My class is every Tuesday from 5:30 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. And we hear from each department that the city is involved in. And specifically, there's profiling and then there's racial profiling. And that was one of the things that I learned about. And so the City of Austin does a really good job, in my opinion, based on the facts that I saw during the presentation, of not doing that. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but at least the city is doing it right.
At least they're trying to do something. Racism is something that's unfortunately was part of the birth involved in the birth of the country, and it's still around. But it really has no place among civilized men, I don't believe. And one of the movies that I had the chance to see, I don't know if you've ever seen. Have you ever seen 12 Angry Men?
I'm not.
If you haven't seen 12 Angry Men, I strongly recommend you and anyone within the sound of my voice watch it. If you watch 12 Angry Men, and there's another movie called Marshall.
Marshall?
Now, Marshall is almost a Rodney Reed type situation. And in Marshall, if you watch the movie, you'll find out that both the black guy and the white woman had consensual sex. The white woman had regrets about it when she realized what happened. Threw herself over a bridge, and then claimed that the black guy had raped her. They go to trial. She's not telling the truth, and he wasn't telling the truth. He didn't tell the truth because he was afraid. Because he said, "Do you know what happened to a black man who has sex with a white woman in Louisiana? If you're lucky, they get lynched and they get their manhood cut off and all that good stuff." And so that's kind of like what he had in his mind, and that brought to mind to me Rodney Reed, because when they say when Rodney Reed was first arrested, was first brought into consideration, that was because his semen was in a white woman.
Correct.
And based on that, his semen being found in her, and the fact that he denied knowing her, which he should not have done. Which, you know, and I say it in retrospect, because but I'm, you know, speaking perfectly. Look behind you, but my thing was the exact same thing happened in the movie Marshall. The guy was afraid to tell the truth, and in that movie Thurgood Marshall had to slam the guy to get him to tell the truth, and many times, and in my experience as practicing law for 40-something years, is one of the biggest challenges that you have is that people won't tell you the truth.
False confessions.
Just tell the truth. A lawyer can't help you if he doesn't know the truth. Now, I'm afraid that if a lot of research was done and investigation into what happened with Rodney Reed, he may have been afraid. I don't know who his lawyer was. He may have been afraid to tell that lawyer the truth.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, there's something wrong there.
You got to pick a lawyer who you trust and trusts you, I guess, right? There has to be that mutual respect there in order to be able to accomplish the end goal, which is to present the facts of the case and hopefully get you either out of it or a better deal.
And that's the problem I have with lawyers now, because I still come across a lot of them. Pretty sure you do too, Mike. And if they're friends and they're in the inner circle, especially public defenders of all, they're gonna want to just slide by, get the money, and make the deal, as to put the show on with the prosecutors. I mean, I've spectated many cases from felony to misdemeanors to even civil, and even though that's not how it's supposed to be, picking an outside attorney that you trust is like she just said, and you said the best method.
But you don't just pick the first one you go to.
No, you evaluate them.
Yeah. I've never needed a lawyer, really, so I don't spend a lot of time around attorneys. You're probably the only one.
I can't say that's a bad thing.
No.
I don't spend a lot of time around attorneys either, except in the courthouse. When I leave the courthouse and go to the gym, or just anywhere, grocery anywhere. If I see you, fine. If I don't, fine. But I believe that it's important that my fellow attorneys both act ethically and responsibly, which I don't believe is happening.
I believe
And
that.
that's what concerns me. When I look at the situation of what's happening with the president and all these FBI, these guys, FBI, Justice Department, all of them have their own agendas, and they're pursuing their own personal goals. And to hell with ethics and common sense. It's what I want and what I'm gonna get. And to me, that's one of the challenges in the profession, is that you turn out lawyers who just want money, you do almost anything for money. And I don't know that that's the best way to practice law.
No, because then you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. Aren't you a lawyer so that you can help defend those who are disadvantaged or have things that maybe shouldn't have happened to them? You're probably trying to do better for the man, the common man or woman.
Well, when I look at things just generally, you talk about this country is founded based on certain ideas: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It didn't say life, liberty, and say pursuit of whatever the heck you want to do, no matter how much sense it makes.
Well, to some people, the pursuit of happiness is probably driven by money.
Yeah, sure.
You could argue that's the last thing on purpose because the other two come first. You're looking at me.
You would think that the greatest priority is life, but it is in fact it is not, and the fact that abortion is legal lets you know that life is not always the primary goal, the preservation of life.
Sorry. I was going to say, I'll be the first one to say, when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I was 22 years old. I had her when I was 23. But not once did I ever think that I was going to abort her, because I knew that she was my responsibility from the moment that I knew she was inside me. It's just how it is. I have to take responsibility for the action that I did before she was created and raise her.
See,
Why don't other people think that?
See, on abortion, I feel
Well,
like
that was merely a fetus.
No, that was my daughter.
Yeah.
Or as I called her, my little ninja, because she used to jump around on the ultrasound.
That sounds like my son. My son was swimming so fast, they thought it was twins.
Oh, wow.
And he's been moving fast ever since. But I wanted to watch a couple of videos and comment on those surround this situation with Rodney Reed, because it's kind of a hot ticket right now.
Sure is.
There is a growing outcry in the U.S. state of Texas to stop the execution of Rodney Reed. His supporters picketed the state capitol in Austin Saturday. Reed was convicted more than 2 decades ago for the brutal killing of a 19-year-old woman. DNA links him to the crime, but his backers say evidence actually points to a different suspect. CNN's Ed Lavandera has the story from Texas.
In 1996, 19-year-old Stacy Stites was found dead on the side of a road in Bastrop, Texas. She was partially dressed, bruised, and strangled with a belt. Investigators say she was raped and murdered just after 3 in the morning on her way to work at a grocery store. For months, the prime suspect was her fiancé, a police officer named Jimmy Fennell, until DNA evidence pointed to another man she knew. A year later, tests confirmed Rodney Reed's semen was found inside Stites. A jury convicted Reed and sent him to death row. But the saga was just beginning.
It almost reads like a book. Hopefully, we don't execute the wrong man for this murder.
Reed's attorneys say the evidence points to Jimmy Fennell as the killer. They say Reed and Stites were engaged in a consensual affair and Fennell found out about it. Reed talked about this in an interview.
Prior to her death, there was a time when we was together, and she said that if Jimmy found out that we were together, that he would kill me. I just took it as a figure of speech. I didn't take it literally.
And that is clear motive for him to have killed Stacy and ultimately having Rodney Reed take the fall for that murder.
Reed's case has garnered celebrity attention. Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, and others are pushing to stop Reed's execution scheduled for November 20th. Reed's lawyers say the murder investigation is full of holes. They say the time of death isn't accurate and that police never searched the apartment where Fennell and Stites lived together, and that DNA tests were never conducted on the belt used as the murder weapon. But Fennell's lawyer says the push to exonerate Reed is a circus that has been rejected by appeals courts and that Reed is a monster.
Rodney Reed is a garden variety sociopath who has convinced his lawyers and lots of other people that he's just a poor, unfairly charged black man being railroaded to the death chamber.
Prosecutors here in Bastrop, Texas maintain Rodney Reed is guilty and deserves the death penalty. They have also pointed out in court documents that Reed was suspected of sexually assaulting and raping 6 other women. He was acquitted in just one of those cases.
These are allegations, they're not convictions, and they have nothing to do with whether or not Rodney Reed committed the murder for which they're trying to execute him.
There's also this. Jimmy Fennell spent 10 years in prison for kidnapping and raping a woman in 2007 while he was on duty as a police officer. In a court affidavit, an Aryan Brotherhood inmate claims that when they were in prison, Fennell said to him, "I had to kill my N-word loving fiancé."
The next surprise witness will be Mother Teresa appearing via Epiphany. Each one of these stories is laughably lacking in credibility.
Rodney Reed also has one advocate that once lived by him on death row. Anthony Graves, you spent 18 and a half years on Texas death row. You were fully exonerated, released, you were wrongly convicted. Why do you relate to Rodney Reed?
I relate to Rodney because I know for a fact that those same players didn't give a damn about whether I was innocent or not.
Anthony Graves was wrongly accused of murdering a family of 6 people in 1992. The same judge, medical examiner, and court-appointed defense attorneys that worked his case also worked Rodney Reed's murder trial.
I was in his seat. I know his story. It just sends chills up my spine when I read and know what Rodney is going through.
Graves has been free almost 10 years and now works as a criminal justice reform advocate.
A young white woman was murdered and a black man was convicted of it. That is their case. They're not listening to anything else. Rodney Reed was definitely framed. and they're taking it all the way to the execution table.
While prosecutors who worked the case say the thought of Rodney Reed getting out of prison is absolutely terrifying. Ed Lavendera, CNN, Bastrop, Texas.
We white people are terrified of black people. They're monsters. The men have tails. It's almost embarrassing to have to confront the fact that racism is just as alive today as it was when this country was founded. At least among some people. And it's frightening that it's permeated the criminal justice system. And it's poisoned it, quite simply.
I just hate that it's around. It exists. Why can't we all be friends? It doesn't matter what color your skin is, or I don't know, how you talk or what accent you have. You're still an American.
Well, when the president said we all bleed red blood, I guess that's a racist statement. But my blood is red, I think. It's blue on one side, red,
and then when
blue, and then it goes so hard, then it gets them juiced up and it turns red.
You know, after analyzing so many cases through, like, you know, the district clerk's office in many different counties, from Travis, Hayes, Kamal, Caldwell, even Harris, I came to realize something. There seems to be a lot of political influence behind all this, strongly, not just racism. I agree racism is a strong part of it, but political influence through the correct connections is so strong in this case that it's unbelievable.
What happened to a jury of our peers, though? Because my understanding is that Rodney Reed's jury wasn't necessarily representative of his peers.
Well, it was an all-white jury.
Exactly.
But that's not surprising, given the population makeup in Bastrop County, let's say in Caldwell County, and probably in Hayes County. I was on a jury panel myself 2 weeks ago.
Thank you for
And
that.
there were 93 people summoned for jury duty. There were 3 African Americans, myself and 2 others.
Oh.
That's something you can't do anything about where people live. But I think that there's a need for training and education among legal and law enforcement professionals to be akin to, like, no one's going to sit up and say, yes, I'm a racist. No, everyone's going to deny it.
But then there's those
They're
people.
going to tell you how many black friends they have. I have this. That's it. How many white friends you have? I don't know. Well, why didn't you count them?
You want to talk about racism, though? Did you hear about that assistant police chief at the City of Austin Police Department, Newsom? He was sending
What's his
racist
deal?
text messages to his entire, command staff, and now there's an outside investigation into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though the City of Austin provides the best training possible, it still happens. There's outliers.
You can't
stop it.
police every single person.
Correct.
And it's the kind of thing that's kept in the dark. And it's not something that someone admits.
It's shameful.
If you look at that movie that I suggested, 12 Angry Men,
Mm-hmm.
when the guy who revealed his racist tendencies, they had him go sit in the corner away from everybody else. Everybody else sat at the table, they sent him to sit over in the corner. In other words, you have no place among civilized men. And that's the way it should be regarded. But I'm dealing with a cite and release policy in San Marcos right now that's not fairly administered. And I believe this essentially indicates to me lawyers could stop all this mess if DAs would just not assist in the promulgation of this stuff. You know, they're supporting this stuff, and by prosecuting cases that are started because of race. If they simply just refuse to prosecute them, they would stop arresting people for that stuff.
How do you prove it was a racially driven offense?
How do you prove it?
Yes. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not trying to be rude or
They got
condescending.
they have numbers. that show that white people who got these minor violations were cited and released, and no black person was cited, not one.
Well, and you can also look at the Texas
Well,
problem.
that's terrible, but how do they flip that? Education?
No, you flip. I'm saying lawyers can begin to flip that if someone brings you a case that looks like it has a racial basis at its beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If you just didn't prosecute that case, they'd stop making the arrest.
Oh, okay, I see.
They can stop it.
Yeah, okay. That
The
makes
DAs
sense.
can stop it.
I was just clarifying
They can
that.
stop it tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like a Brady case comparison. You can put, this race, and then same charges, same type of, offense codes and everything. This person may get off on a leniency with probation for 5 years. This person may get 5 to 10 years TDCJ.
Mm-hmm.
I've done many case comparisons, and I'm not saying it's all racism with colors. I'm saying there's also targeted individuals that are noisemakers that they also target as well.
That's horrifying.
Well, it's also horrifying that prosecutors would make a recommendation that's where race is a consideration. Say, for example, if there's a case where a guy is dating a white girl,
Okay.
and another guy is dating a black girl, if the guy dating the white girl gets in a domestic argument with his girlfriend, and black guy dating the black girl and getting a domestic argument with his girlfriend, they should both be treated the same.
Agreed.
But I can tell you that's not happening.
I can tell you that I've seen cases where police officers will go to a domestic disturbance and they won't realize that the woman is actually the person committing the crime and not the man. And so they're caught off guard and they get in trouble for that. So I think it can go in a lot of different directions. But what I can see that you're saying is that it's not equal.
No, what I'm saying
not
is,
fair.
the DAs could cut off all that stuff. They could cut it off, just leave it at that level.
Why don't you become a DA?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you run against
No.
West Mayu?
I don't do nothing but run to the bank. That's the only reason I want to run, to the bank, to the gym, at home.
West Mayu got them.
I'm just saying you could make a lot of changes
Yeah,
for the better.
any DA could. Not just me, any of them could. Anyone could.
I think we all have the ability to make change if we try hard enough.
It's almost like everything is always going. The flow of everything goes straight to the district attorney's office, strictly, and it's all sealed up, and they decide what the heck they want to do with it,
Well, that's why I put a lot of responsibility on my profession,
I see.
because legal professionals are in a position to cut down on all this stuff and to bring more fairness to the situation. You're talking about prosecutorial misconduct, or less than the highest ethical conduct on the part of prosecutors, and that should be required because the prosecutor acts on behalf of the state,
Correct.
not on his own behalf, but on behalf of the people. And if the attorney for the people is not operating at the highest ethical level, that in and of itself presents a problem to me.
Oh, definitely.
And it's, as I said, it's as gatekeepers, lawyers happen to be judges, somewhere in the FBI and things like that.
Yep.
But they can act as reasonable gatekeepers instead of gatekeepers just to lock people up. I had to write communication to some assistant DAs in a local jurisdiction recently, and I just said, look, there's more to justice than just locking up as many people as you can.
I agree fully.
There's something called rehabilitation. There's also something called forgiveness. I like cowboy pictures like the Rifleman, Gunsmoke, and stuff like that. In those pictures, most of the times those guys come back to town who've been to prison, say paid their debt, leave them alone. And that's my thing. If once a person has served his sentence or has been punished appropriately by the system, leave them alone. A felony conviction should not be a life sentence, and it is. And that's just wrong.
It's a lot of time.
You miss an opportunities after that. You're done.
But a lot of people say if you do the crime, you got to do the time.
Yeah, but after you did the time, you should be done.
Well, you could look at Michael Morton, for example. He was exonerated.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like once you get a first degree felony, second degree felony, third degree felony, jobs, school, education. I mean, the whole list
Housing.
of housing, everything.
Oh, of course.
And you're affected by it for life.
Right.
And sometimes there's no the expungement and non-disclosure process is not even applicable to that after that.
Well, even when the record is expunged, the law enforcement agencies still keep a record
The
of it.
criminal history record system.
Yes, yes. They have their own internal.
Well, the
internal-
expungement has to go to
internal-
different counties, right? And places where it might be kept.
Uh,
So each
well,
individual department's
once your record
responsible.
is expunged, it's usually applies. It's just in that county, that court where you had that file.
Yeah.
They expunge it.
Interesting.
Without doubt that they have a role in making sure that everyone else gets that information. They don't even get all the information on the different jails you go to. I recently had a client who he spent a year in TDC on a felony out of Caldwell County. Caldwell County did not want to give him credit for the year he spent in jail. That he didn't report for couldn't report for probation because he was in jail. He's writing from the jail, "Hey, I'm in jail," but in their records they don't show that he was in TDC.
That's interesting. You would think there would be some kind of overarching system that would...
You would think.
Huh.
And I actually had to file a motion with the court to try to get him credit for that time.
Time served.
Did he get it? Was
Okay.
it successful?
No, the judge did kind of took my suggestion. Say, Judge, if you have to sentence him to the time he's already served, which was 1 day. And what the judge did was she sentenced him to 15 days, credit for 15 days, which means he just was booked in and booked out one more time.
You say she, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Interesting.
But it was exactly what I felt should happen. You know, it wasn't the 1 day or 3 days that I argued for. At 3 days, give him credit for 3 days. She said 15 days, credit for 15 days, which the net result is the same. But that's justice. That's okay. He was happy with the outcome, and I was not unhappy. I was just a little bit baffled about, why you coming with 15?
Yeah, that same judge is the one I dealt with too.
So real quick though, sorry to change subjects and thank you for educating me on that process, but back to Rodney Reed, wasn't Jimmy Fennell, and please correct me if I'm wrong or if you know different, wasn't he a Bastrop County Sheriff's deputy at the time?
He was I don't know if he was a Bastrop County Sheriff's deputy. I know he worked in law enforcement.
Okay.
And
I just wonder if him having people knew him and so they botched his case intentionally.
the thing is,
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
it would be crazy to me for Rodney Reed to think that he was seeing this woman and no one saw him.
And there's a point to that too. A strong key point. Would Rodney Reed really want to murder somebody? Like, any man, would they want to murder somebody that they're already having repetitive consensual relationships with, rather than somebody who's angry, and that, like Jimmy Fennell?
Well, that's
that's the common sense point of view,
Well, that's what when you have jurors who may be racially insensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and insensitive to the point that it's in many counties in Texas, you have to be honest about it. When I lived in Port Arthur, Texas, there was a big bridge that went from Port Arthur across that bridge to Orange. When you crossed that bridge to Orange, you went back about 50 years.
I've driven through there recently.
Really?
Yeah. When
Screw
you go
up on that
to
too?
when you go to New Orleans, you have to
Yeah.
go through there.
I didn't.
That town looks podunk as heck.
What does podunk mean?
You don't know what
Which one,
podunk
Orange?
means? Yeah.
Educate me.
He goes, I don't know what
You mean
podunk
orange?
means.
They don't say orange.
Orange. Podunk means like backwoods country.
Oh, okay. I'm getting
That was
little.
my
It's like going
My-
back. It's like going
my
back in time.
impression
It's like
there.
going back in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I didn't even
For
know.
real.
We had to stop to put gas in the car, and the only bathroom was like this little gas station, and it was so disgusting. I had to not use it.
Oh wow.
It was pretty bad. Orange.
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 You gotta say it right. You gotta say it right.
Orange.
Okay.
I get that now. I got it. Thank you
That
for
was,
educating
it was
me.
a couple years ago I went through there,
See,
but
orange is now orange.
orange is the new black.
Yep.
That show's a good show. Probably isn't what really happens in jail, though.
But I think that what happened with Rodney Reed. I bet $100 on Trump coming down the escalator. Everybody laughed at me. I'm still trying to get paid. But
Ooh. Speaking of getting paid.
and I believe the governor's gonna do the right thing.
You know he's going to come out of this looking like a hero if he does.
No, because what his decision is a political one. You know, he risks aggravating the law enforcement base versus trying to gain perhaps some traction in the African American community, which would be great for the party, I would think.
But a stay, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, a stay doesn't say he's not to be executed. It's we're going to look at more
a stay
evidence.
is represents an opportunity to be able to present evidence.
So then that's what he needs.
He can't do that if he's dead.
Well, no, that's what he has. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if he presents a stay, or if he okays
if
a
he
stay,
gets a stay, there's a chance he may have a chance to present all this
The
evidence
belts, right?
in a coherent manner.
right?
Which I don't know if that's been done, and I just wonder what the trial lawyer did, if anything.
I would have loved to
If
have been
these
a
guys
fly
are
on the
pointing
wall.
all that stuff, but which brings to mind something I thought on a couple weeks ago. I was thinking, now courtroom proceedings are public. Anybody can go.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, why don't they have cameras in the courtroom and just record everything?
Well, it was 1996. I was in elementary school. The technology back then was not as good as it is today.
I mean, why not?
Um,
If it's public,
hold on. But on
why
that,
can't we see it?
But on that one, sometimes, like, especially when I had my first trial hearing when I came out of jail this year, I mean, they set me up. They told me to come after they closed the Justice Center down, and it was a closed, isolated hearing, and they did that every trial hearing, and I was like, what is going on? And they didn't want no spectators, no nothing, because of the publicity, you know. They didn't want no spectators, no.
I mean, you know what's going on with
I know-
Roger
I-
Stone, right?
I know
It's a
when-
circus.
When you go to the jail, when I go to the jail, I can't take a cell phone in there.
How do you feel about that?
I can't take my own cell phone. No. Hey, they make the rules. They can lock me up.
Yeah.
I've taken a cell phone
Contraband.
into
And they
a
got the
courtroom before.
gun. They got the gun.
I took a cell phone into a courtroom once.
Oh, no, I'm talking about in the jail. If you go in the courtroom, when they'll tell you put them on silent.
You're absolutely correct. So my Citizens Police Academy, we were granted the gift of touring the jail, which my 10-year-old daughter did because she went through the Travis County Sheriff's Academy, which was a week-long kids thing to teach them about law enforcement. My daughter did a tour of the jail.
What did you say? It's the Citizens what?
I'm in the Citizens Police Academy for the city
Citizens
of Austin.
Police Academy.
Yeah, we had to leave our cell phones
and
in
you
the car.
and you packing a pistol too.
I do have my license to carry.
You can get a uniform when you finish.
No.
Okay,
I just have the knowledge and skills necessary for me to advocate on behalf of the police department.
Congratulations.
High five.
Look, I want to get back to Rodney Reed.
Yes,
I really
please.
do, because what's happening to him is just wrong. It just doesn't pass the smell test with me. And any African American who's dating a white woman would be put on notice everywhere. You have to remember that in this country, Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion, he was convicted of a felony offense for marrying a white woman.
Really?
Yes, he was, and he wasn't. He was pardoned by President Trump. He wasn't pardoned by the African president, Obama.
Interesting.
He wasn't
I just-
He wasn't pardoned until a couple of months ago when Trump did it.
mean, I guess, okay, go back to 1996. What happened that was major? And I'm trying to think, and that was a major thing. I grew up in Austin. I was born in Austin. I'd like to think that back then, things were as progressive as they are now as far as being tolerant over people's races. So you're saying even now we have problems?
In the criminal justice
Yeah.
system.
Yes.
In the criminal justice system. Law and order.
I
Dun-dun.
got statistics concerning the San Marcos Police Department right on my desk
Really?
that shows, yeah.
Are you dealing
I'm
with
sorry, and I know I'm at a disadvantage because I'm white.
No, it's
them?
okay.
No, you're.
But I just I don't have that same impression that you all do.
Of
I mean,
course
you got
not.
Hispanic, black, white.
No, but you not. Let me remind you of one thing. Do you remember the O.J. Simpson trial?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You
If it
remember-
don't
do-
fit, acquit.
Wait, do you remember the different reactions of the white people and the black people? Black people were cheering. White people were like, "What?
So,
Something was wrong with the system. They want to change the system."
was that 1992?
O.J.
Yeah.
That was I was in the islands. Yeah, I was about 92. Yeah.
So I was in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I went to Live Oak Elementary School, and my teacher's name was Nicole Simpson, and she was white. No joke. That stuck with me my whole life. Totally random.
What stuck with me was the different reactions of the communities.
Obviously, it was torn apart.
White people were pissed off. Black people were cheering.
I mean, O.J. Simpson's in so much trouble all the time.
They felt like he got away with killing a white woman.
He did kind of run away. If I
It
remember
was on
correctly,
TV.
there was a
It was on
Bronco
TV.
chase.
It was on TV.
Yeah,
It was on TV.
popularized Ford Broncos.
I mean, okay, and this, 'cause I want to get back to Rodney Reed real quick because I got something on my mind, fresh, strong. If we take into the perception that he will own Bastrop County, he will own that county, left and right, north, south, west, east, if he is exonerated, and we can't doubt that.
If he's exonerated, all he wants to do is be free.
I'm just telling you, like Michael Morton, he was exonerated, right?
He was,
Yeah, and he goes about and he lives his life now, and yeah, it sucks, but at least he's a free man, and I think he's grateful for what he has.
and Michael Morton
And the
actually.
state paid him.
Michael Morton, I know who Michael Morton is. Actually, they have the mandatory Brady training now with the Texas District and County Attorneys Association, which I have. But Michael Morton was exonerated on a different level. Yeah, he did 25 years. He was exonerated, but the media wasn't as much involved with it, like on a global level, as it is with Rodney Reed.
We live in a different time. Technology has progressed. Facebook didn't exist back then.
Well, Rodney Reed,
Twitter didn't exist.
the Rodney Reed situation kind of represents the problem for America.
The racial problem.
The racial problem.
Yes,
It's
okay.
real.
It
It's-
is, apparently.
It's real. Trust me. It's real.
Well, walk outside with fresh eyes, I guess. Jeez. Take
Yeah.
off my blinders.
Yeah. Because it's real.
I guess because I don't participate in or
Well,
experience
you wouldn't
it.
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Thank goodness.
But Mackenzie,
Be thankful for that.
Yeah.
but I've never ever had a vibe from Mackenzie that any source of racism or nothing like that. She's been a true good person, good, kind-hearted, and so she sets a good example, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike,
Right behind them.
with your versatility, with having all of our,
Are
all
we
of,
at the end already?
Just about.
Oh, wow.
man, we got so into it.
Keep going. We got this.
Oh, let's keep going. Yeah. So,
Sorry.
So let's talk about this. Okay, so Rodney Reed. Okay, he got his countdown's 9 days away.
I'm going to be praying hard.
It's going to be all right.
He's gonna be all right.
Yeah. You think?
If he is executed, he's gonna.
Well,
I don't think
have
so.
you ever seen that movie, The Life of David Gale?
No, but I'm gonna write that down.
That's about so Kevin Spacey's in it, and it's about being executed when you're not actually, like, the one who did it.
Well, I think that Abbott has higher aspirations, and I believe that a stay could further those aspirations.
You would at least give him another shot.
Yeah, because I mean,
I don't think Abbott's a bad guy.
What?
He's a reasonable man.
Governor Abbott's going to roll up into the White House, dear.
Roll up. You think, really?
That's right.
Oh, from the best state in the whole United States.
Yep.
I mean-
Yep.
Let me ask you a question.
I've
real
been
quick,
taking
Miley.
bets on that for a couple of years.
Okay, it's just like the Code of Criminal Procedures. You know, it's like it doesn't even exist when it comes to the Rodney Reed case, because like Chapter 40 of the new trial shall be granted upon accused producing new material evidence. So it's like
You would think.
you would think these laws apply, but yet they're just dismissed, regarded as nothing.
They apply for some people and not for others.
So do you think that if Rodney Reed was white, none of this would have happened? Or it would have gone down differently?
I think if Rodney Reed was right, I think they would have taken a harder look at Jimmy Fennell.
But he was a crooked cop anyway.
Wait. No. You asked me if Rodney Reed was white, do I
Okay.
think it would.
Okay.
So I'm answering your question.
Yes. I forget you.
Yes, it would have been a hell of a lot different.
Yeah.
They would have been looking at Jimmy Fennell and him both.
Yeah. Instead, they just focused on him.
But then, if he were white, then it's okay for his semen to be found in the girl, right?
You know, if this was Williamson County in the 90s, I think I would believe it more. Just because I feel like, you know, Williamson County in the 90s was more racist.
Williamson County in the 90s is the same in Bastrop, it's in Austin, it's in San Marcos, it's in New York, it's in Los Angeles, in Washington, D.C.
So it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Everywhere north of the Mexican border and south of the Canadian border.
How do we fix it?
Yeah, Mike Lee.
How do we fix it?
Yeah,
Since we have just a couple minutes left.
yeah. Shoot for it, right? I mean, shoot for it, Mike.
I think they'll declare racism as a mental illness, and people should be diagnosed for it and treated.
Do you just give them a pill, or do you send them up
No,
the
no,
river?
no,
Like
no,
competency heirings.
No. Because the thing is, people won't be honest about their feelings. They won't be honest, and that's one of the reasons I admire President Trump. When because I listen to people speak, and one of the things I heard President Trump say, he says we got to stop looking past people. That's what some people do. They look right. They don't even see you. They look past you.
Right.
Now, how would he know that? How would he know that?
Paying attention.
You know, he's being honest about it. He's being honest about it. That's what racists probably do. They look past people.
That's terrible.
But that's probably what happens. And I admire a person who's honest enough to say that. Because he can deal with it. And your boy